Before we start the video, I want to let you guys know about my affiliation with G Fuel. If you guys utilize the link in my description or pinned comment, or use my discount code JUSTINSDEN, you can get a reduced price on your orders. Being as though the warm season is upon us and some of you guys are finishing up your finals, G Fuel is an amazing taste, zero sugar, and clean energy drink that has some really nice themes too. My favorite is Dragon Ball Z, of course, but you might like others like Naruto, Sonic, Marvel, Tekken, and even The Boys. Clicking the link in my description or using my discount code helps the channel, so I definitely appreciate the support. Anyways, after this we're covering Resurrection F next, so stay tuned and let's get into the video. The Dragon Ball Super Broly movie takes place after the events of the Tournament of Power. Long ago in the vacuum of space, we witness King Cold and his forces approaching the Saiyan homeworld, Planet Vegeta. As the Saiyans watch the many ships fly in, some rather recklessly, Zarbon, Dodoria, and the Ginyu Force dispatch. King Vegeta informed that King Cold has arrived. Vegeta can see that for himself though, the king displeased at this unexpected visit. Landing in the front of Vegeta's palace, Cold's subordinates await the landing of their leader, who, departing from his ship, is approached by Vegeta and his entourage. King Cold is surrounded by Frieza and others, greeted by King Vegeta, though he refuses to shake the Saiyan's hand. Cold then introduces his son, Frieza, who intimidates Vegeta with a single glance. He and the rest of his team bow before their opposition, and King Cold soon announces that he'll be retiring effective immediately. He goes on to say that Frieza will now be the new commander of his forces, and clearly establishes that the Saiyans will continue to serve by following his orders. Cold warns King Vegeta of his son's quick temper and cold-hearted nature, and swiftly assuming the responsibility as commander, Frieza laughs and greets the Saiyan race with condescension. To commemorate his rise to power, he introduces new gifts for his subjects known as Scouters, explaining that in addition to serving as communicators between the Saiyans and Frieza Force, they can triangulate a target's position and battle power. However, during the device's demonstration, Frieza notices a number of Saiyans focusing their weapons on both he and his men. Noting that one of the Saiyans have a battle power of 2,000, Frieza swiftly eliminates him, along with the remaining snipers. He and the Frieza Force then take off, having left 500 scouters behind, leaving an angered King Vegeta crushing his device in frustration. Later, King Vegeta inspects his son in his nursing capsule, filled with pride at Prince Vegeta's potential and confident that his offspring will one day reign over the cosmos, usurping the tyrant Frieza. His contentment quickly turns to anger though, as he notices an unfamiliar child in the neighboring pod. One of the Saiyan scientists quickly informs the king that the child is Broly, son of Paragus. When Vegeta exclaims that this nursery was intended exclusively for Saiyan elites, the scientist notes that Broly's latent abilities were exceptionally high. Challenging the scientist's suggestion that Broly's power is on par with Prince Vegeta's, they actually correct him, noting that Broly's far exceeded his son's. Skeptical, King Vegeta retrieves a power reading device and tests it against Broly's pod, causing the child to wail and the device to explode. Nearby, another scientist observes, noting that even discounting anomalous readings, Broly's power is remarkable, prompting talk of him being a valuable warrior with proper training and speculation that he might even be the legendary Super Saiyan. Upon hearing this analysis, King Vegeta's determination solidifies and he resolves on a course of action. Soon after, Paragus hurries and rushes into the throne room, where he kneels, pleading for an audience with the king. He questions if word is true that Vegeta plans to send Broly away, and he confirms. Paragus demands to know why Broly is being dispatched to a frontier world, as if he were a low-class Saiyan. King Vegeta attempts to explain that it's a training mission for Broly to develop his extraordinary potential, and that cultivating planets for sale is what Saiyans do. However, Paragus counters that Broly's destination, Planet Vampa, is merely a setting with a harsh environment and no humanoid life forms, deeming it a non-suitable planet for sale. King Vegeta then admits that he fears Broly's immense power could threaten Planet Vegeta one day, and perhaps even the entire universe. He goes as far as to call Broly a freak, and tells Paragus that he should consider himself lucky that his son's life was spared. Angered, Paragus accuses the king of being jealous of Broly's power, which surpasses that of the prince. This accusation infuriates Vegeta, who threatens Paragus and spitefully reveals that Broly's pod has already launched. In a panic, Paragus crashes through the throne room's stained glass window and heads for the spaceport. He sets his sights on his spaceship to steal and makes a beeline for it, moving past the Saiyan named Beats, who protests and follows him. Ignoring Beats, Paragus commandeers the ship and takes off for Planet Vampa, with Beats along for the ride. As he pilots the ship through the atmosphere, Paragus explains to Beats the details of his plight and mission. The king, envious of Broly's power, removed him from his nursing capsule and sent him to a desolate world, not to conquer it as Saiyans do, but to get rid of Broly for good. good. Paragus intends to retrieve Broly from planet Vampa and serve out their exile on a more hospitable planet, informing Beats that he's free to head home afterward. As for Paragus, there's only one path forward. He'll train Broly's incredible power and one day exact revenge on King Vegeta. Paragus and Beats approach planet Vampa, a planetoid almost as small as an asteroid. Despite Beats' cautions, Paragus heads straight for where Broly should have landed 2 days earlier, resulting in a crash landing, though they survive mostly unharmed. As he departs from the ship, Paragus dons a mask, and the two begin searching for Broly using an old scout scope. Soon, they hear a noise, discovering a group of Vampa beetles approaching. One of the beetles attacks Paragus, but he manages to escape. He tries attacking the creature, but his blasts just bounce off its shell. As Paragus and Beats take shelter in a cavern below, Beats fearfully states he shouldn't be out here, as he's not even a fighter. The two remain put until sunrise, then resume their search for Broly. Beats notices that planet Vampa has a moon that's almost full, prompting Paragus to advise him not to stare at it for too long, otherwise he'll become a great ape. During their search, they enter a crater filled with a soft, grassy surface. It's not long before said surface is surrounded by Vampa's tick-like creatures. The ticks penetrate the grass with long, barbed appendages from their mouths and start sucking up something beneath the surface. Suddenly, an earthquake occurs, prompting Paragus and Beats to take to the air as the grassy field transforms into an open mouth, extending into a gigantic, snake-like creature with the face of an attack dog. The creature quickly attacks and eats the Vampa creatures, leading Paragus to understand the food chain on this planet. The Vampa beetles suck the blood from the Vampa beasts, and the beasts eat the beetles in return. Paragus and Beats distance themselves from the scene, and the latter spots Broly's pod in the distance. The pod appears to have been damaged in a crash landing, but Broly isn't there. Using a scope, they eventually locate Broly inside a cave that seems to serve as a nest for the Vampa beetles. It's filled with what looks like their eggs and the corpses of several adult creatures. Broly soon emerges from one of the adult claws, uninjured and holding a piece of a beetle tongue. Paragus expresses his happiness at seeing Broly, but Broly seems wary. Beats uses the scout scope to gauge Broly's battle power, revealing it to be 920 and higher than his own. But Paragus believes that 920 wouldn't be sufficient enough to combat the Vampa beetles and win. Incapacitating his struggling son by gripping his tail, Paragus notices that Broly's armor is a bit loose. He realizes that Broly must have transformed into a great ape the night before the moon was full, explaining the death of the Vampa life forms they're witnessing. Paragus and Beats return to their ship to escape the planet, but discover that the ship's main floater was damaged in their crash landing, leaving them stranded on planet Vampa. They're too far away to call for help, and they only have enough food and water for 10 days. Beats doubts anyone will find them, and Paragus, noting there's only one way for them to conserve food, shoots Beats with a ray gun and kills him. 5 years later, Bardock returns from battle to planet Vegeta, woken up by his Saiyan comrade Leek, who informs him of their imminent arrival. Curious about Frieza's command for the Saiyans to return, Leek is advised by Bardock to remove his scouter, suspecting that someone might be listening. The two notice that Frieza's spaceship is already orbiting the planet, but it will take some time for all of the Saiyans to return. Bardock is wary of their orders, stating that if Frieza had an important message, he could have transmitted it wirelessly. He goes on to say that even if this were about new weapons they were receiving, there would be no urgency in summoning all Saiyans back to their home planet. Though Cold and Frieza have always found the Saiyans useful, Bardock wonders if Frieza has decided he no longer needs them. As they enter the atmosphere with dozens of other ships and land in Bardock's village, the bustling scene is filled with activity, including carts pulling space pods. Leek questions if Bardock is suggesting that Frieza plans to exterminate the Saiyan race, and Bardock confirms, surprising Leek, who tries to stay optimistic. Another Saiyan comrade, Taro, greets Bardock, the latter questioning if he knows why Frieza summoned everyone back to the planet. Taro states he's unsure, but suggests Frieza might have found a valuable planet needing the Saiyans to purge, an idea Leek quickly adopts. Taro also mentions Frieza's inquiries about the legendary Super Saiyan, heightening Bardock's suspicions. On Frieza's ship, one of the tyrant's most trusted men, Kikano, tells Frieza that after doing some digging, the legends of the Super Saiyan and Super Saiyan God appear to be nothing but a myth. Relieved, Frieza agrees but doesn't want to take any chances, viewing the assembly of the Saiyans the perfect opportunity to eliminate them, once and for all. At home, Bardock finds his wife Gine working in her butcher shop. She's delighted to see the Saiyan and embraces him as he inquires about Raditz, learning he's on a mission with Prince Vegeta off-world. Bardock then questions how Kakarot is doing, prompting Gine to take her husband to see him. They enter the room with the nursing capsule, and Bardock notes that Kakarot is still small. Gine notes that he's a late bloomer, but mentions he looks just like Bardock, especially his hair. Bardock, with a serious expression, tells Gine that come nightfall, he'll be stealing a space pod to send Kakarot to another planet. Gine protests, but Bardock explains that given Kakarot's low potential, he would have been sent off-world anyway, so they should do it now before Frieza acts. Gine questions what Bardock means, and he explains his suspicions about Frieza, deducing that the tyrant is scared of the Super Saiyan legend and plans to exterminate the Saiyan race as a result. When night falls, Bardock steals a pod and places Kakarot inside. Gine follows him to the Badlands outside of the village in worry, but Bardock reassures her, stating that if he's wrong about Frieza, they can always go after Kakarot later and bring him back home. Gine suggests they all escape together, but Bardock explains they would be detected by scouters, so Kakarot is the only one they can save. She questions Bardock's sudden resolve and concern for his son, prompting the Saiyan to state that he's constantly destroying, so he'd actually like to save someone for a change. He programs the pod's destination to a planet called Earth, far enough to avoid Frieza's attention, with a native population weak enough to pose no threat to Kakarot. As the baby peers through the pod in tears, his parents resolve to their decision, and Bardock tells Kakarot to survive no matter what. As they say goodbye, Bardock touches the pod's window, and Kakarot places his hand against the glass. The pod takes off and Gine calls out to her son, telling him not to forget them as she breaks down in tears. Bardock comforts her as they watch their son hurtle through space, unaware of the horrible fate approaching their planet. On Frieza's ship, Kikano warns the tyrant that destroying the Saiyans will reduce their forces by nearly half. However, Frieza isn't concerned, as he anticipates that the Saiyans would eventually turn on him given the chance. Deciding the time has come, he opens the hatch and floats out in his hover throne, immediately preparing an attack that he launches to obliterate the planet. Gine looks up from her work in the butcher shop as the Saiyans notice the sky turning bright red. Leek stares toward the sky in shock, glaring as the supernova approaches. Bardock, in his armor heavily damaged from battling several of Frieza's minions, makes a desperate attempt to stop the tyrant's attack by launching a final spirit cannon. However, Frieza's supernova overwhelms the Saiyan's effort, and Bardock is incinerated along with Planet Vegeta. Frieza, watching the life signs on his scouter screen drop to 0, proclaims joyfully how much better he feels with the Saiyans now eliminated. Somewhere in space, Vegeta is on a mission with Raditz, Nappa, and 2 other adult Saiyans. One Saiyan informs the others that Planet Vegeta has been destroyed by a meteor, shocking the others as they rush to inform Prince Vegeta. Overhearing this, Raditz remarks they were fortunate enough to be spared, while Vegeta muses over the fact that he'll never be King Vegeta now. Nappa questions Vegeta about his brother, but Vegeta shows no concern for him. Another Saiyan questions Raditz about Kakarot, but Raditz dismisses his brother as a weakling and mentions that their mother had sent him off-world. With the remainder of the Saiyan race dwindled to a handful, Prince Vegeta looks toward the sky unbothered as Broly, back on planet Vampa with Paragus, eats a Vampa beetle from a giant eggshell. At the same time, Kakarot's space pod passes by, headed toward Earth, and begins his adventure that we know as Dragon Ball. In the present day, Goku and Vegeta are sparring near Bulma's summer home on an island far to the south of West City. Bulma is watching from a distance with Bola, Whis is visibly excited over some food he's tasting, and Beerus is trying to take a nap. As the Saiyans continue their battle, Bulma remarks to Whis that the island is otherwise uninhabited, so Goku and Vegeta don't have to worry about collateral damage. However, Beerus gets angry when they wake him from his nap with their noise, prompting them to take a break and join the others for food. Whis questions Goku on why he's seeking even greater strength, initially guessing that he's aiming to become a god of destruction. Goku denies this though, and explains that it's because he met incredible fighters from other universes at the Tournament of Power. Whis then poses the same question to Vegeta, who's motivated by the imminent danger of Frieza. Goku tells Vegeta there's nothing to worry about, as Frieza helped them win the tournament after all. Vegeta, however, argues that they shouldn't expect Frieza to be grateful for his resurrection, and now that they understand Frieza's potential for growth, they shouldn't have risked the possibility of the tyrant getting an even stronger stronger form. A bickering ensues, and Vegeta tells Goku he's too stupid to grasp reality. Suddenly, Bulma receives a call on her wristwatch from Trunks, who informs her that the 6 Dragon Balls she collected in her lab have been stolen. Trunks sends the surveillance footage through the watch, revealing that the thieves were wearing Frieza-style armor. Vegeta and the others instantly recognize what's going on, and when the call ends, Vegeta believes that Frieza must have sent his minions to nab the Dragon Balls so that no one would detect them given their low battle power. Goku wonders what Frieza would wish for since he can't wish for anything beyond Shenron's power, and Vegeta thinks it's obvious, noting that Frieza is aiming to wish for immortality. Regardless of his true intentions for the wish, everyone agrees that Frieza must be stopped. Fortunately, Bulma already knows where to find the last Dragon Ball. She reveals that it's on the Ice Continent, which she initially saved for last because it's so cold out there. Frieza's goons are surely already en route, so Goku and Vegeta agree to travel with her to stop them. Whis wants to go with them, but Beerus prefers to stay where the food is, so Bulma happily saddles him with Bola to babysit. As they take off, Beerus yells after them, prompting laughter from Whis. As they fly toward their destination, Goku questions Bulma on why she wanted to collect the Dragon Balls in the first place. After more inquiries, Bulma admits that she wanted to make herself look 5 years younger, and Goku can't believe she would waste a wish on something so trivial. When Bulma asserts that a Saiyan wouldn't understand how she feels about this, Whis questions why she'd only stop at 5 years. Bulma responds that anything more would be too noticeable, and Goku makes fun of her. Meanwhile, on Frieza's ship, Kikino emerges and relays the news that the 6 Dragon Balls collected by Vegeta's wife have been secured, along with the Dragon Radar, which they're using to find the last one. This pleases Frieza, but he decides they should wait until all 7 are secured before heading to Earth, as the Saiyans don't need scouters to sense his presence. With some time to spare before their arrival, Kikino wants to know whether Frieza will wish for immortality as he's always wanted, but the tyrant reveals that his experience in Hell taught him that immortality isn't all it's cracked up to be, especially when one couldn't do anything. Kikino predicts that he'll wish for invincibility instead, but Frieza thinks that would be boring. Confident that nobody will be able to guess his true intention for the wish, another of Frieza's subordinates, Berry Blue, hits the mark when she suggests that Frieza will wish to be taller. Frieza's reaction confirms it, and Kikino can't believe what she suggested. Berry Blue, however, continues in saying that she's witnessed Frieza's ruthlessness with people who called him a pipsqueak, prompting the tyrant's verbal confirmation with her guess. Frieza swears his subordinates to secrecy and admits that he wants to wish to be 5 centimeters taller. Kikino questions why Frieza doesn't just use his taller second form, but Frieza insists he wants to be taller in his true form, and of course his golden one. Kikino finally questions why only 5 centimeters, to which Frieza responds that anything more would be too noticeable, and that he wants to appear as if he's still growing. Somewhere out in space, a pair named Chilai and Lemo, members of the Frieza Force, are searching for strong recruits. Chilai is frustrated with her mission as it seems pointless, but Lemo reminds her that they were ordered to find as many warriors as possible to strengthen Frieza's depleted forces. Chilai is confused, thinking the army was already large enough, but Lemo explains that a significant portion were killed by Frieza himself. Lemo then questions why Chilai joined the Frieza Force, prompting her to admit that she stole a ship from the Galactic Patrol and hoped that joining Frieza's army would offer her some protection from jail time. She questions Lemo on if he's ever met Frieza, but as a non-combatant, he's only seen the tyrant on video. Chilai expresses that she heard Frieza is short, and Lemo warns her to never repeat that if she values her life. As the two pass by planet Vampa, they intercept a distress signal from an older model ship. Hoping for a bonus, they fly toward the planet, Paragus noticing them from the ground. The two land and investigate the old wreckage, and Paragus emerges from a nearby cave, yelling for their attention and questioning if they're with Frieza's army. Lemo spots Paragus's tail and recognizes him as a Saiyan, surprising Chilai. Paragus introduces himself and explains that he's been stranded since crash landing on the planet. Chilai reads his battle power of 4200, which is much higher than she expected for an old man. As they express their amazement, Lemo questions if Paragus is alone, but he tells him there's another on the planet as well. Their conversation is interrupted though when a Vampa beetle approaches, but Paragus yells for Broly, who drops the claw he was munching on and swiftly charges in, dealing with the creature. Chilai is awed by his performance and tries to read his battle power, but her scouter blanks out as Paragus introduces Broly. Surprised, Chilai tells Lemo that her scouter can't even measure Broly's power, so he tries to get a reading on his, but fails as well. The two can't believe their luck and hurry to deliver this powerful specimen to Frieza. On their way, Broly gazes at the food Chilai is eating and is offered some, but nearly eats the wrapping as he isn't accustomed to normal food like the others. Upon tasting tasting the food, Broly devours it and formally thanks Chi-Lai, but she tells him to relax a little, leading to a more casual expression of gratitude. Upon the group's arrival on Frieza's ship, Berry Blue goes to inform Frieza of their arrival, piquing his interest. Gazing at Broly and Paragus, he's surprised that there are still other Saiyans out there. Frieza questions what happened to Broly's tail, prompting Paragus to explain that he removed it because Broly couldn't control himself when he transformed, making him too dangerous. Frieza inquires if Broly has lost his mind and exploded since the removal of his tail, and Paragus confirms he has, but insists it's only on rare occasions. Frieza counters that rarely is not never, and grows stern at the thought of danger being brought to his ship. So Paragus reveals Broly's collar, a device he invented to electrocute his son into submission when he loses control. Broly becomes visibly distressed when Paragus takes out the remote to demonstrate it to Frieza, gripping his collar in fear, which Lemmo and Chi-Lai notice. Frieza inquires for Broly's name, but Broly just blinks and looks away, prompting Paragus to answer on his behalf. Frieza can sense Broly's hidden power, and Paragus assures him that he and his son are at his disposal. Frieza, already turning away, laughs and says he's sure they will serve him well. He instructs Berry Blue to reward the hunters, who present Chi-Lai and Lemmo with a bounty in the form of intergalactic silver. They thank the tyrant profusely and leave, while Broly and Paragus remain in the room. Frieza then questions if Paragus is aware of Planet Vegeta's destruction due to an unexpected meteor long ago. Paragus, having heard about it en route to the ship, shows no concern for his race, but regrets that his dream of revenge was stolen from him. Frieza then informs Paragus that King Vegeta's son, Prince Vegeta, is still alive and flourishing. This news upsets Paragus, who exclaims that the royal bloodline should have ended long ago. Frieza then concocts a plan and offers to help him get his revenge, instructing Berry Blue to show Paragus and Broly to the showers and provide them with new battle armor. Alone, Frieza muses over his plan, noting that he may not even have to get his hands dirty this time. Sometime later, Broly and Paragus emerge from showering and don new armor, as Chi-Lai and Lemmo invite them to join their table. Chi-Lai notices that Broly is only wearing the undersuit of his armor, and questions why he didn't wear the battle jacket. Broly explains that it was too hard to move in as she demonstrates hers, stating it's not so bad once you get used to it. Chi-Lai then directs her attention to the pelt wrapped around Broly's waist, reaching for it and questions when's the last time you washed it. This triggers Broly when she touches it as he tells her to leave it alone, drawing everyone's attention in the mess hall. Chi-Lai apologizes, touching the fur gently, realizing it must have an important meaning for him. Broly begins to tell her the story behind it, but Paragus interrupts, reminding him that they're here to eat, not speak. Chi-Lai protests, but Paragus brushes her off. She tries to push it, but Lemmo advises her to drop the subject. At that moment, a random member of the Frieza force known as Dagon approaches and tries to flirt with Chi-Lai, suggesting she would have more fun with him rather than her current companions. Paragus keeps a watchful eye on him, and Broly's eyes narrow in suspicion and irritation. Chi-Lai tries to dismiss Dagon, but he persists, so Lemmo offers to pay for his meal and send him on his way. Dagon, however, punches Lemmo aside, crossing a line for Broly. His hair flares up slightly, but he visibly controls his anger a bit, deliberately walking up to Dagon and ignoring his father's command to stand down. Dagon punches Broly in the chest several times, but the Saiyan doesn't even flinch. Instead, he grabs Dagon by the neck and lifts him off the ground, while Paragus tries and fails to get his son's attention. Broly squeezes harder, clearly threatening Dagon's life, but Paragus resorts to the collar, triggering it as Broly screams in agony under the assault of electrocution. Chi-Lai and Lemmo rush to his side, and once they verify that he's okay, Chi-Lai confronts Paragus. The latter explains patiently that his actions were necessary, but while talking, Chi-Lai stealthily steals the remote from his belt. Paragus remarks that she doesn't share his opinions and tells her to stay away from his son, unaware that his means of reining Broly in have been taken from him. Suddenly, Berry Blue enters the mess hall to summon Paragus to see Frieza again. Paragus calls for Broly to join him, but Berry Blue insists Frieza only wants to see Paragus. Before leaving, the Saiyan tells Broly to shut up and behave while he's gone. As soon as Paragus leaves, Lemmo remarks that he might be even worse than his own father, and Chi-Lai laughs. Pleased with herself, she shows Broly the remote she stole, surprising both him and Lemmo. She drops it on the ground and crushes it with her foot, and the two take Broly to the living quarters, where he gobbles more snack bars. Broly demonstrates more of his feral instincts as he's clueless on how to open a bottle, prompting Lemmo to help him as he drinks water for the first time. Comfortable around the two, Broly tells them the story of his pelt. He says that it's the ear of his first and only friend, Ba. Ba was one of the beasts that lived in the craters of planet Vampa. When Broly was a child, he got along with Ba, and part of his training was learning to dodge the beast's attacks. Eventually, Ba saw Broly as a friend and no longer attacked him. However, Paragus was unhappy with this development as it interfered with Broly's real training, so he shot Ba in the head with a ray gun, severing his ear. After that, Ba became angry and never trusted Broly again, so the Saiyans started wearing Ba's ear to remember all of the good times they spent together. Chi-Lai, in awe, tells Broly she didn't expect him to have so much to say, and Lemmo believes Broly to be a truly pure being. Chi-Lai questions if he even likes fighting, or if Paragus is just using him for revenge, and Lemmo notes that Broly doesn't have to do everything his horrible father tells him to do. However, Broly refuses to speak ill of his father, prompting a look of sadness from his new comrades as the Saiyan grips Ba's ear. Meanwhile, on the Arctic continent of Earth, Frieza's goons have finally found the last Dragon Ball, though they're having difficulties. In space, Frieza speaks with Paragus, explaining that Prince Vegeta is living on Earth along with another Saiyan. He suggests that Paragus show off Broly to them, and Paragus is happy to oblige. However, Frieza tells him that while he can take his revenge on Vegeta, Frieza wants to finish off Goku personally for his own revenge, which he's dreamed of for a long time. Paragus is taken aback by Frieza's determination, but he doesn't even know who Goku is, so he bows and agrees to Frieza's wishes. Just then, Kikino runs in and excitedly informs Frieza that the last Dragon Ball has been found. Frieza rejoices, and the ship heads for Earth at full speed. At the same time, Bulma and her crew have finally reached the Arctic. Bulma spots Frieza's goons, and they make a landing. Despite the cold, Goku excitedly jumps out of the ship. Bulma and the Saiyans are casually bundled up in warm clothing, but Whis doesn't need any, casually explaining that it's much colder in outer space. Frieza's goons watch the group from their own ship, and when they see that their scouters' readings have spiked, the two fearfully take off. As they fly away, Goku and Vegeta look up, and Vegeta calmly shoots them down. They approach the enemy ship, with Vegeta lifting it effortlessly with one hand while Goku jumps on top, slapping his hands on the glass and demanding the goons to surrender the Dragon Balls. Goku senses something approaching and looks up, as does Vegeta, still holding the thieves' ship. In space, Frieza arrives, floating out of his ship's hatch, reminiscent of his dramatic entrance during the destruction of Planet Vegeta. He drops a petite supernova into the atmosphere, splitting the sky open and pushing away all clouds to quicken the tyrant's descent. Both Goku and Vegeta sense another powerful presence aboard Frieza's ship, but can't identify who it is. They watch warily as Frieza and his crew disembark. As Broly steps off the ship, a wave of power seems to emanate from him, creating a wind that forces Goku and Vegeta to shield themselves. Once everyone has exited the ship, Vegeta recognizes Paragus and Broly as Saiyans, and Paragus trembles as he recognizes Vegeta from his resemblance to King Vegeta. Goku demands to know what Frieza is up to, and Frieza casually responds that he's come to Earth for the Dragon Balls, which he calls to him via telekinesis as his goons stumble after them, falling into the snow. Watching from their ship, Chi-Lai and Lemmo wonder what the magical orbs are. Bulma on the sidelines yells at Frieza to return the Dragon Balls and leave, but Whis advises her it's too late for that now, delighting in the prospect of the battle that's soon to come. Goku again demands to know Frieza's intentions. The tyrant then introduces his companions, Broly and his father, explaining that they're Saiyans, though he's sure Goku and Vegeta have already figured this out. Paragus steps forward and introduces himself by name, and Frieza recounts how, when Vegeta was a child, his father exiled Broly to a repugnant planet where he and Paragus were stranded until Frieza found and rescued them. A silence falls on everyone listening, but Goku breaks that silence when he questions what the word repugnant means, prompting an explanation from Frieza. Paragus declares he's come to avenge the sins of King Vegeta upon his son, but Vegeta dismisses this, noting that the sins of his father aren't his own. Goku suggests that, as Saiyans, they should try to get along, but Broly's anger is noticeably bubbling up, needing an outlet. Paragus decides it's time to begin, and Frieza demands he show him how powerful Broly truly is. Paragus then commands Broly to attack, and the Saiyan yells out and charges straight for Vegeta, who blocks his attack with a smile. The two trade blows, with Vegeta completely at ease in his winter jacket for a few moments. It doesn't take long before Vegeta feels pressured enough to rip off his coat, taunting Broly on how this fight may be a pretty good warm-up. The Saiyan Prince deals a few blows to Broly and takes off into the air, but Broly's speed cuts him off, landing a blow as Vegeta thinks he must have studied how to use his power. The two continue their battle in mid-air, while on the sidelines, Paragus observes that Vegeta is a skilled fighter in his own right. Frieza confirms that Vegeta is no stranger to battle, but on the other hand, since Broly grew up on an uninhabited planet, he assumes this must be his first real battle with another person. Paragus corrects him, saying he fought Broly many times, but Frieza dismisses this, considering Paragus too weak to count. Vegeta and Broly's battle intensifies, with Paragus cheering for Broly on the sidelines. Before long, the two Saiyans lock hands and Vegeta becomes annoyed, his energy building as he knocks Broly away and decides it's time to transform. Gazing up at the Saiyan Prince, Broly witnesses his energy continue to build as he transforms into a Super Saiyan before his eyes. Broly is shocked and doesn't know what to make of the transformation, similar to Paragus who questions it, surprising Frieza as he's never seen a Super Saiyan before. Frieza correctly deduces that Broly is unable to transform, and Paragus can't believe he's witnessing the legendary Super Saiyan. Vegeta's transformation infuriates Broly, who charges at him again. However, Broly finds himself at a significant disadvantage in both strength and speed, as Vegeta fights with the confidence of someone far from reaching his maximum battle power. Soon enough, Broly takes a solid punch to the face, pushing back defiantly against Vegeta's fist. His eyes have turned yellow as Vegeta questions where his adversary came from, soon interrupted as Broly delivers a punch that sends Vegeta through a mountain, the Saiyan quickly realizing that Broly has become even stronger. Broly begins keeping up with Vegeta as a Super Saiyan and putting him on the defensive again, astonishing Goku, though Vegeta doesn't let this go on for too long. He seeks the calm of divine ki as he retreats upward, a fiery aura surrounding him as he transforms into a Super Saiyan god. Regaining control, Vegeta doesn't waste time letting Broly know it. Initially, Broly is fearful, desperately attempting to land attacks. He repeatedly tries to land a punch, but Vegeta dodges effortlessly until he catches one of Broly's attacks, casually pushing it aside and punching the Saiyan in the face, sending him flying through several mountains. Paragus falls to his knees, believing Broly has reached the limit of his power. Frieza angrily suggests they give up for now and retreat to his ship with the Dragon Balls, while Broly, appearing injured, is approached by Vegeta. Paragus gets up and calls for Broly, trying to persuade him to stand down, but Broly is buried in a distant mountain and isn't listening, instead undergoing an internal struggle for control. Annoyed, Paragus reaches for the remote in his belt pouch and discovering it's missing, falls to his knees again, desperately calling for Broly to retreat. At the same time, Broly is trying and failing to keep the beast within him contained. Running out of patience, Vegeta aims a God Heat Flash attack to finish Broly off, stating that this was a waste of his time. Goku desperately shouts at Vegeta to stop, but the prince ignores him, blasting Broly into the frozen lake, which melts around him as he plunges downward. In the depths, Broly finally awakens his wrathful form, turning the lake into a powerful whirlpool as he rises in a golden glow and screams in fury. Once again, the force of his ki sends a gale outward, causing Goku and Vegeta to instinctively block. Goku questions what's going on and inquires if Vegeta has ever encountered a Saiyan like this before. Realizing that this fight could go on longer than they expected, Vegeta responds by questioning if Goku has any sensu beans, though he forgot to bring them along. Wrathful Broly fires a mouth blast directly at Goku, who barely dodges as the attack takes off the top of the mountain behind him before exploding in the sky, bathing everything in green light. Gathering himself, Vegeta raises his energy and attacks, landing a punch directly on Broly's face. Surprisingly, Broly takes it head on with no sign of damage. Broly then punches Vegeta, sending him flying skyward. Goku begins to worry and flies after the two, and Vegeta starts to feel pressured as he attempts to fend off Broly's attacks. On the sidelines, Frieza is in good spirits again, questioning Paragus on what's happening. Paragus notes he's unsure, but theorizes that Broly has gained the ability to control the power of the Great Ape in human form without any of the disadvantages of the bulky transformation. However, the downside is that nothing can be done to control Broly now, as he himself has lost sense of who or what he is. Back in the battle, Vegeta is punched through mountains himself. Although he lands gracefully enough, he's feeling overwhelmed. As Broly is about to power up again, Goku yells for his attention in the distance. Turning to meet the Saiyan, Broly Broly notices Goku removing his jacket, asserting that it's his turn to fight now. Goku's interruption infuriates Broly, who powers up as Goku starts warming up. As they charge in, the two exchange a few blows, Broly soon punching Goku deep into a mountain and following him through the other side. Broly relentlessly attacks Goku, who's been struggling to keep up since the fight began. Amping things up, Goku decides to go Super Saiyan and charge back in, but still finds himself outmatched. He manages to catch Broly by surprise by teleporting behind him, but this advantage doesn't last long. Broly quickly reasserts his dominance, knocking Goku into a mountain once again. Goku hasn't given up yet, but as Broly screams in anger and attacks, Goku transforms into a Super Saiyan God just in time. Just before being attacked, Goku starts holding his own, and Broly becomes increasingly angry. As the latter rushes in to attempt another powerful attack, Goku uses his God Bind technique to paralyze Broly long enough to try to talk some sense into him. He tells the Saiyan that he and Vegeta live peacefully on Earth, but Broly rages and tries to punch Goku, though he can't move. Goku concedes that they've had their many battles over the years, fighting horrible people, but tells Broly that he knows he's not a bad guy, and that he shouldn't let bad people boss him around. Kikano, watching from the sidelines, panics along with Paragus, thinking Broly might switch sides. Frieza finds Goku's attempts at peacefully stopping Broly amusing, and sure enough, Broly gets angry enough to break Goku's hold on him. Broly pulls back for a massive punch, reversing the God Bind on Goku, but Goku barely manages to tank the attack. With some effort, he grabs Broly by the wrist and slams him to the ground with enough force to cause an earthquake. Bulma's perch is threatened nearby, and Vegeta manages to catch her. The plateau where Frieza's ship is parked begins to collapse, and Kikano calls out for his master's permission to take the ship to safety. Frieza agrees and sends the Dragon Balls up, and while Broly rages, Kikano, Lemo, and Chilai hold on to them as the ship takes off. Frieza tells Paragus that they can now watch Broly's show without any worry, but notes that for his sake, he'd better hope his son grows even stronger. Broly continues to draw out more power, growing larger by the minute. Despite Goku landing attacks in his god form, he isn't making any real progress. Watching from above, Chilai is overwhelmed by Broly's power. Lemo believes that Broly isn't himself right now, and Chilai agrees. Goku struggles against Broly, and Chilai regrets that this is happening because the gentle-hearted Broly is a slave to his father's obsessive drive for revenge. Broly's rage continues to grow, dealing blow after blow to Goku, but Paragus begins to fear that his son will be killed if this keeps up. At this point, Broly has grown so large that he dwarfs Goku, fully controlling the fight. He furiously tries to stomp Goku into the ground, but Goku desperately rolls away. Goku manages to get back on his feet and attacks Broly with an energy sphere, only for Broly to effortlessly grab it and crush it in his hand. Broly then flips Goku and grabs him by the ankle, slamming him against the ground and prompting his screams of agony. Broly keeps up his display of strength and slams Goku again, only this time, Goku momentarily blacks out from the pain as he's thrown around repeatedly. To take things up a notch, Broly grabs Goku by the head and drags him through an ice wall by the face, thrown far into the distance afterward as he plummets to the ground. The Saiyan is felled and unable to move, while Broly screams in unbridled rage. On the sidelines, it appears Goku is done for, and Frieza thinks he won't even get a chance to finish him off. Suddenly, we see Piccolo meditating far away. He opens his eyes and calls out to Goku telepathically, sensing that his friend is up against a formidable opponent. Piccolo knows he would only be a hindrance if he tried to help, and Goku, struggling to pull himself together, tells Piccolo that it's okay, as he's his escape plan. At the same time, Broly is losing patience, and Goku manages to stand up. If things go south, he tells Piccolo that he can use instant transmission to teleport away from the battlefield. Piccolo realizes that for Goku to have an escape plan, things must be really bad, and wishes him good luck. When Goku snaps back into the fight, he rips off his battle-damaged orange gi and begins to transform once more. His aura originally turns green, and being pushed further in battle, he nearly trespasses into Ultra Instinct again before completing his transformation into Super Saiyan Blue. The fight becomes a bit closer to even, but Goku is still struggling against Broly's might. The two combatants plummet through the ground, where a fiery magma pit lies just beneath the snow. Broly initially overwhelms Goku beneath, but Goku throws Broly back above the surface and follows him up. Above ground, Broly quickly charges up a giant cyclonic sonic attack and launches it at Goku. The attack is so powerful that Frieza has to put up an energy shield to surround himself, while Paragus is sent flying into the distance. The attack transforms the landscape, the sheer magnitude of it releasing the magma below the surface, though Goku remains unharmed. Paragus is filled with despair, beginning to think that maybe King Vegeta was right all along. Broly is now the one struggling, with Goku clearly having the upper hand in battle. Frieza questions Paragus if this is truly the end this time, and Paragus agrees that it is. Frieza, however, recalling how killing Krillin triggered Goku's first Super Saiyan transformation, decides to replicate that scenario. With a satisfied smile, Frieza executes Paragus with a mere finger beam and calls out to Broly, acting with panic and distress. This gets Broly's attention, and Frieza reveals that his father was killed by a stray energy blast. The revelation for Broly triggers the exact effect Frieza hoped for, as the Saiyan explodes in grief and anger, transforming into a Super Saiyan for the first time. Frieza celebrates as Broly begins firing a flurry of random blasts, destroying what remains of the landscape around him. Goku tries to fight back, but can't even make a dent, and in the midst of the assault, he loses his blue shirt. Broly's aura expands dramatically, threatening to overwhelm Goku, who flies up to escape it. Frieza is pleased, noting that this is the anger he wanted to see, and Vegeta realizes that Goku won't be able to defeat Broly alone. He flies up to join Goku, who reluctantly accepts his help. Vegeta transforms into Super Saiyan Blue, and together they attack Broly, but it's still not enough. Broly quickly turns the tables and unleashes more of his overwhelming power, soon having the two Saiyans on the run. Goku and Vegeta power up a Kamehameha and Gallic Gun combo, but their ferocious attack is easily swatted aside by a dual-wielded energy blast from Broly, who continues pursuing the two. Seeing an opportunity to retreat, Goku and Vegeta fly past Frieza, prompting a raging Broly to shift his attention to him. Immediately scared of his impending beatdown, Frieza is quickly blasted away by Broly and dealt a ferocious pummeling to the face. In the ensuing chaos, Goku grabs Vegeta's hand and teleports them to Piccolo, all according to his plan. They make a crash landing at the Namekian's location and revert to base form, Goku continuing to hold Vegeta's hand for a few moments until the latter angrily pulls away. Piccolo questions what's going on, but Goku tells him they'll explain later, as right now, they desperately need some sensu beans. Unfortunately, Piccolo doesn't have any, so Goku questions Vegeta if he knows anything about fusion. Vegeta responds that he knows about it from Trunks, as it's the technique where you merge yourself by dancing like a fool. Goku confirms and demonstrates the poses, but Vegeta angrily refuses to do such a thing. Goku tells him it's only for 30 minutes, going on to say that they've done it before with Potara. Since they don't have Potara handy, they have no choice but to use the fusion dance. Vegeta questions if there's another way to avoid dancing, but Goku corrects his pose and technique and insists they don't have a choice, as the Earth will be destroyed if they don't stop Broly. Vegeta retorts, asserting that the Earth is done for then, but Goku mentions his family, questioning if Vegeta is okay with the thought of Bulma and his children dying. This revelation prompts an embarrassed Vegeta to finally agree to learn fusion. Meanwhile, on the battlefield, Broly is dominating Frieza, who then decides to transform into Golden Frieza, surprising Broly. Annoyed that he now has to put effort into a fight, Frieza introduces his transformed state and attacks with renewed confidence. Goku and Piccolo demonstrate the fusion dance for Vegeta, who watches mortified and blushing. Goku insists there's no time, and Vegeta reluctantly steps forward as if he's being dragged against his will, thinking he might actually prefer to die. The two attempt the dance, but their fingertips don't align, Piccolo noticing the mistake before the chubby fusion even appears. When he does, he claims to be the strongest, but Piccolo scolds him, explaining where the Saiyans went wrong and notes they have to wait 30 minutes to defuse. In the meantime, Golden Frieza is being pummeled by the very monster he helped to create. Goku and Vegeta try the dance again, but this time they fail with the malnourished form, Piccolo explaining that their pose wasn't symmetrical. Simultaneously, Frieza continues to hold down the fort while they wait another 30 minutes. Finally, Goku and Vegeta perfect the fusion dance, much to Piccolo's satisfaction, as the technique gives off a tremendous amount of power. Their new persona's vest trim is golden, his sash an aqua color, and he appears with jet black hair. With time running short, the fused Saiyan, recalling their previous fusion named Vegito, struggles to come up with a new name for this form, much much to Piccolo's irritation. Finally, he declares himself as Gogeta, and satisfied, he heads off to the battlefield. Frieza lies embedded in the side of a rock formation, marveling at Broly's power even as the Saiyan has moved on. Suddenly, Gogeta appears, much to Frieza's shock. The tyrant demands to know who he is, and Gogeta explains that he's the fusion of Goku and Vegeta, much stronger than the two of them separated. Frieza whines and says that isn't fair, and wasting no time, Gogeta teleports to Broly's new location. Having lost interest in attacking Frieza, Broly has begun attacking Whis in the absence of Goku and Vegeta. Whis is merely toying with the frenzied Super Saiyan as he dodges his attacks, moving out of the way of Gogeta's instant transmission when he arrives. Whis instantly recognizes who Gogeta is, surprised to see that Goku and Vegeta could actually work together long enough to fuse. Bulma recognizes Gogeta as well, as Broly appears in front of them. Gogeta challenges Broly to fight him, and he immediately attacks. After dodging a few of Broly's blasts, Gogeta decides to power up, transforming into a Super Saiyan to match Broly's power. The two exchange blows, Gogeta twirling his hands in a circular motion and redirecting Broly's punch as he delivers his own devastating attack to the Saiyan's stomach, followed by a kick to the face. Gogeta powers up and unleashes a scatter Kamehameha, landing below as the divided blasts hit Broly one after another. Gogeta continues the assault, though Broly manages to break away, charging in and vanishing in and out of thin air with his adversary until he struck ferociously once more. Gogeta follows up the attack with another Kamehameha, and Broly counters with his own attack, the magnitude of the powerful attacks causing the fabric of reality to crack and shatter like glass. The two combatants fight in a surreal landscape of shifting colors, Gogeta landing more blows to Broly before he unknowingly transforms into his legendary Super Saiyan form. Broly lands a few hits on Gogeta, who quickly turns Super Saiyan Blue to regain the upper hand, pummeling Broly back. They crash through several dimensions, eventually clashing so hard that they return to the real world. Broly lands, appearing berserk with green hair and shredded battle armor, as Gogeta glares at him intently in blue, ready to continue their battle. On Frieza's ship, Chi-Lai and Lemo run towards an exit. Lemo asserts that Broly will be killed if this continues, and Chi-Lai notes that his father molded him into a battle monster. She exclaims that she won't allow this to be the end for Broly, and the two continue on with Lemo carrying the 7 Dragon Balls. Outside, Broly attempts to kick Gogeta, but the fighter evades as he's met with a blast that he easily swats aside. Through the resulting smoke, Broly emerges as Gogeta stylishly leaps into the air, landing a powerful kick that leaves Broly visibly damaged. Falling to a knee, Broly watches as Gogeta rushes in, though the Saiyan tries to destroy everything around him with his gigantic roar. Gogeta leaps over the attack and uses a dual-wielded blast to strike Broly repeatedly, followed with a barrage of energy attacks. This assault pushes Broly back until Gogeta decides to end it with a powerful Stardust Breaker, detonating on impact. Amongst the lull in the battle, the sky becomes dark as Shenron is summoned in the distance, appearing in the sky and catching the attention of Frieza. Offering to grant one wish, Chi-Lai holds a gun to Kikuno's back and demands to know how to get their wish granted. Kikuno tries to hold his tongue, but when threatened with death, he reveals that all you need to do is state your wish. On the battlefield, the fight nears its end as Broly powers up even more, yelling out in a furious rage before rushing in to attack again. Gogeta, however, maintains the upper hand, countering with a flying kick. Broly fires a massive energy blast, but Gogeta dodges it almost as if he's surfing and punches Broly in the face. Broly attempts to strike back with a flurry of energy bullets, but Gogeta easily evades and continues to decimate the Berserker, eventually using a meteor explosion to completely dominate Broly. From afar, Whis declares the match nearly finished as Gogeta emerges from the resulting flames he's created. Without hesitation, Vegeta charges a full force Kamehameha. As the Saiyan's energy builds, prepared to completely finish Broly off, the very air around them crackles with anticipation. The ground trembles under the weight of his power, and a blinding light engulfs the battlefield as the fighter's eyes blaze with determination. When Gogeta unleashes the blast, Broly stares and screams in horror, Chi-Lai at the same time begging Shenron to send Broly back to the planet where they found him. Gogeta's Kamehameha shoots shoots off harmlessly into space as Broly is whisked away by Shenron's power, confusing the warrior as the Saiyan finds himself back on planet Vampa, disoriented and relieved, having reverted to his base form. On Earth, Shenron declares the wish granted and disappears as the Dragon Balls scatter. Gogeta, piecing together what's happened, laughs and casually brushes off the remainder of his minor energy blast. Kikuno watches helplessly as Chilai jumps into a getaway vessel Lemmo lifted from Frieza's mothership, and the two take off into space. From afar, Frieza tries to shoot them down, but Gogeta grabs his hand and stops him. Knowing he stands no chance against the fused might of the Saiyans, Frieza drops his golden form and gives up, though he warns Gogeta that he'll be back for the Earth one day. As he takes off, Gogeta laughs at the battle's end. Back at Bulma's vacation home, a baby Bola happily plays with Beerus, though he ignores her as she pulls on his collar. Having been able to sense the battle, Beerus is relieved that everything turned out well and looks forward to returning to his nap. In outer space, Lemmo pilots the stolen ship. Chilai apologizes for getting him involved, but Lemmo doesn't mind, as these have been some of the most exciting days for him. Chilai goes on to say she wants to find Broly, and Lemmo agrees, thinking it might be the safest option for them given they may be hunted by the Frieza force. They set a course for Planet Vampa, knowing they'll need to find some food and supplies along the way. 3 days later, the Frieza force is back in action, attacking another unfortunate planet. Kikuno informs Frieza that they've located Chilai and Lemmo with Broly, and Frieza advises they leave them alone for now. He considers that Broly could be an invaluable asset if he learns to control his temper, letting Chilai and Lemmo do the hard work of managing him to stand a chance against Goku and Vegeta one day. On planet Vampa, Broly drags a huge claw into his cave where a starving Chilai and Lemmo wait. The Saiyan offers them some meat, which Chilai finds sour but better than starving. Lemmo finds it unbearable upon tasting it, but Chilai counters he won't be denying it for long, as they don't have enough food to sustain them for more than 50 days. Suddenly, Goku appears on Vampa, and the three take defensive positions. When the three notice it's him, Chilai and Lemmo are convinced that Goku's come to battle Broly again. Instead, Goku, in an act of kindness, offers them supplies to help them survive the harsh conditions of Vampa, a lifetime supply of food, a shelter in a capsule, and 2 sensu beans. Goku explains the purpose of the beans as Chilai voices more of her skepticism, but Goku asserts he just wants the group to be safe and healthy. He goes on to say that he was sure his strength was reaching its peak, but due to Broly's appearance, he's convinced that he can push himself further. He says that Broly is much stronger than him, and probably stronger than even Lord Beerus, emphasizing that someone so incredible shouldn't share a fate of dying on an awful planet. The two pure-hearted Saiyans lock eyes before Goku begins his departure, explaining to a curious Lemmo that he used instant transmission to find Broly via his ki. Despite the group's confusion, Goku mentions he plans to return to spar with Broly again if they don't wander too far. Broly seems to like the idea of fighting Goku again, and as the Saiyan prepares to leave, Chilai questions who he is. Before leaving via instant transmission, Goku introduces himself via his Earth name, but tells Broly he can call him Kakarot. The Dragon Ball Super Broly movie is arguably the greatest Dragon Ball movie of all time. Not only is the animation top tier, but the fight scenes and reintroduction of the legendary Super Saiyan really give fans a newfound respect for Dragon Ball altogether. But what did you think of this arc? Did you enjoy it? Let me know down in the comments below. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys next time.